So now let us look at the domain or the category of general IT controls, which relates to the data center and network operations. We also call it the IT operations for short. So this is the category of general IT controls where we need to obtain an understanding of the process, the risks and controls that are relevant to the day-to-day operation of the activities as they are relevant to the IT systems and applications. The purpose of this domain is to ensure that production systems are processed to meet the financial reporting objectives, and the errors and failures need to be detected in a timely manner. The key activities in this domain include batch jobs. Batch jobs are basically those which involve combining multiple transactions and being processed at the same time. Typically, all the transactions are similar in nature or in fact the same in nature. Batch jobs are designed to execute automatically at a pre-scheduled time without user intervention. A scheduling is done for the batch jobs. Typically, batch jobs are run at the nights so that user activity is very less. A user also could initiate a batch job and schedule it for a execution at a later point of time. Examples of batch jobs could include month-end processes, discount calculations, interest calculations, which are required to be performed on a periodic basis. The other activity under IT operations is the real-time processing. Real-time processing basically refers to the online processing of transactions, wherein transactions are initiated, processed, and recorded immediately as and when they happen without any delay in the processing of the transaction. For example, when a sales invoice is raised in an ERP, the corresponding accounting entries will automatically be available in the general ledger and the sub-ledgers. There is no time delay between the transaction happening and the posting of the accounting entries. So that is what real-time processing refers to. The other activity within operations is the backup and recovery of data. So this activity involves making periodic copies of data as well as the programs or the application software so that in case of a failure, the backup can be used to recover the lost data. We will look at backup recovery in a little more detail later on. Another aspect of operations could be interfaces. Interfaces are basically relevant when there are more than one application in a company. If there is a single application, interfaces may not be that relevant for our audit. So basically interfaces are data flow between one or more systems, and the data flow could be either real-time or it could be through a batch job or it could be even a manual interface wherein data is manually copied or downloaded from one system and uploaded into another system. The next activity is disaster recovery. Disaster recovery basically refers to the ability of a company or an IT organization to recover from a disaster which has hit the business. Like we know, there could be disasters in the nature of natural calamities like floods, there could be fire, etc., which could destroy the computer systems or the information processing facilities. Data could be lost. In such a case, there should be a process or a mechanism or a plan for the company to recover from the disaster and get up and running again. Disaster recovery is a part of the larger business continuity planning of an organization, where in the event of a disaster, how does management continue operating the business? It is not possible to stop a business because of a disaster. So management has to devise a plan where all the key activities need to be analyzed, the risks need to be assessed, and a plan has to be made. While business continuity planning refers to the overall larger business processes, the disaster recovery planning relates more to the recovery of IT systems subsequent to the disaster. The other activity within this IT operations is the help desk activity. Basically, help desk is a facility which is in place to address the user requests and the user queries. Any incidents and problems that a user faces in the operation or in using the IT systems will be referred to the IT help desk. How these incidents or problems are logged, recorded, and monitored and tracked is all about IT help desk. Here we should understand as auditors that all the activities in the domain of IT operations may not be necessarily relevant to the financial statement audit. For example, IT help desk may be more of an operational activity in nature. Similarly, disaster recovery is also operational in nature. However, certain situations may arise where the company had to restore data subsequent to a disaster. In that case, as auditors, we need to be skeptical about how the disaster recovery process happened, whether all the data has been recovered completely and accurately. So, in the event of a disaster, only we need to consider the controls around disaster recovery and the process around the data recovery. In case there is no event of a disaster which happened, then as auditors, we may not be very keen to understand how the controls in disaster recovery has been implemented at a company. However, some of the activities such as batch jobs and real-time processing and interfaces could be relevant for our audit. We will see in detail each of these activities. Now we will look at the various features and functions and understand batch jobs in a little more detail. So batch jobs are those jobs which combine similar transaction or transactions of a similar nature together to be processed at a predefined time. The important thing here is the timing at which the batch job is executed. That is called the scheduling. So the batch job can be scheduled at a particular point of a day or at any other period that is predefined. Now it is critical for us to understand the timing and the scheduling of these batch jobs and who is having access to change the scheduling, because if there is a timing which is critical for processing of the batch job and the timing has been either changed or stopped, then the batch job may not execute, in which case certain transactions may not be posted, and that would impact the completeness and accuracy of financial data. So only in case where the batch jobs are used for processing of financial transactions or business transactions, we need to consider them as relevant for the audit. We also need to look at the aspect of how batch jobs are monitored. It is not just enough to schedule and leave the batch jobs and assume that the batch job has completed successfully. The company has to have a process in place to make sure that the batch job is completed successfully without any errors. In case there are errors which are noted in the batch job, the same should be identified in a timely manner and the corrective action need to be taken. The error handling part is an integral part of the monitoring, and every batch job that executes need to be monitored specifically. The status have to be reviewed by somebody who is responsible for looking at the batch jobs. Typically, it is the responsibility of the individual user who is scheduling the batch job. In case the batch jobs are scheduled by the IT, then it is the responsibility of IT to look at the status of the running of each batch job. So as auditors, we need to understand what is the process at the company for making sure that batch jobs are monitored and how error handling is done. Last but not the least, as I have mentioned before also, the scheduling of batch jobs, even the initiation of batch jobs and the access to modify the configuration of batch jobs need to be restricted to very limited number of users or only authorized users. In case of unauthorized access, it is likely that it could impact the processing of business transactions and impact the validity of those transactions along with the completeness and accuracy aspects. Basically, when we say restricted access, the person who are not supposed to have access or who are not supposed to change the scheduling should not be allowed to make changes to the batch jobs. So there should be a process even when there is a change to the scheduling of a batch job. That change should be recorded and reviewed separately. Now let us look at a real life example of how a batch job looks in a real life scenario. In this example, we see that there are several batch jobs which are running. So all the batch jobs which are being executed. And here, along with each job, we can see that there is a status. As you can see, if the status is a green tick, like in this case, that means the job has completed successfully. If the status shows a red arrow, that means it is an indicator of error in that job. You can also see that there is a code which is assigned, and it is possible that we can take a look at the error code and resolve the error. Here we can also see who has created the batch job. So when we look at samples of batch jobs being run in the ERP, we can make sure that the user ID captured along with the batch jobs and confirm that the user is an authorized user or not. We can also see the timing at which the job is run, and we can see the level of authorization of that specific user ID who has authorized for the run of the job. So in this way, we can get a comprehensive view of what are the batch jobs which are being run at any point of time. We may also be able to get a list of all the batch jobs run for a period using the logging feature of the specific ERP. Please note that in this example, we have used one ERP as an example. It is possible that in other ERPs, while the features and the functionality may be similar, the implementation or the layout or the structure may be very different. The screens may be different. So for each ERP, we need to understand from the client as to how the batch jobs are initiated, scheduled, and processed, and how error handling is done. We need to obtain evidence similar to the screenshot for the purpose of our audit to get assurance that batch jobs are being run successfully, and in case there are errors, the errors are being handled in a controlled manner. That would provide us with the assurance on the completeness and accuracy of financial data within the IT systems. Looking at the user ID also provides us the comfort or the assurance that the transaction have been initiated by the right people and the validity can be assured. Now let us understand about data backups, which is a critical activity within the IT operations. By data backup, what we mean is taking a copy of the existing data at a certain point of time and making sure it is stored at an alternate storage media or even an alternate location. What we need to consider by looking at the data backup is what is the content which is being backed up. There may be a data being backed up, but is it the relevant content? For example, is it the financial data which is being backed up, or is it just the files and other non-financial data which is being backed up? So the content needs to be clearly defined. Next up is the frequency of the backup. So for the content that is defined, how often is the backup being taken? Typically, a backup is taken once in a day, but if required and if it is a requirement of the business, it can be taken more than once a day, or in case the risk of data loss is very less, the frequency can be more than a day. Another aspect to consider for data backup is the storage. Having defined the content and the periodicity or the frequency of data backup, where is the data backup being stored? What is the media in which the data is backed up? Typically, it should not be the same media on which the production system is running. The backup should be taken onto a separate system or an alternate system. Preferably, the backup should be taken onto various types of media, including tapes or even other hard disks, or even to a parallel server, depending on the scale of the operation and the risk associated with data loss. So the storage is a key consideration while looking at backups. Restoration of data is another important aspect we need to understand. Having taken the backup, is the company in a position to restore the backup when it is required? In the event of data loss, or if there is a disaster, it is likely that the company relies on the data backup that was taken periodically. So the company has to test from time to time whether the data which has been backed up, they are in a position to restore it. For this purpose, testing has to be done periodically on the backup to make sure that the backup can be recovered or restored when the need arises. Last but not the least, restricted access to the backups. So people who are supposed to have access only should be provided access to take the backup. Typically, these are IT administrators or operational personnel belonging to the IT department who have the knowledge and the competence to take the backup. They should also be looking at whether the backup on a daily basis has been successful or not. In case the backup is not successful, a revised backup may have to be taken. Now let us look at an example of how a backup configurations can be done in an ERP. So this is an example of a real-time system where the backup has been configured. So here we can see that the database backup has been configured to a device, to a particular device, and the type of backup is a full backup. There are other types of backups like the incremental backup or only in delta backup. So the ideal way to take a backup is a full backup, and it includes the online and also the logs. Logs are basically recovery logs which are helpful in the event of a failure to recover data up to the last point in time. If this is not enabled, then only the backup as of yesterday, assuming that this is a daily backup, only those will be available for recovery. So here in this case, it is a good example where the company is taking backup, online backup, which includes the logs, and they are taking a full backup and not an incremental backup. So here we see the schedule of the backup. So when is the backup taken? You can see the recurrence. It is every 1 and week. So basically backup is taken every 1 week. And on every week, which are the days on which the backup is taken? So we can see here it is scheduled to be taken on Monday to Saturday. That is 6 days in a week. Sunday, there is no backup. It is possible that the company is not working on Sunday and there may not be any transaction. So the company has decided not to take a backup on Sunday. Now if you combine the two, what we understand from this example is this company has scheduled a full backup which includes the logs, and it is an online backup. And this happens every day of the week from Monday to Saturday, excluding Sundays. Now as auditors, what we need to look at is for the size or the operations that the company has and the risk of data loss that the company would carry, is this a reasonable configuration of backup? Should the company take more backup, or should they consider taking backup even on Sunday in case transactions happen on Sunday? So we need to understand through the system how the backup configuration is done and whether it is commensurate with the size nature of the business. Having configured the backup, it is also important that the backup configuration and the backup operation needs to be looked at on a daily basis. Here is an example of a log where the backup status is mentioned. So here we can see that for each day, the start time and the end time has been recorded. And there is a code, which is a status code. It's called a reason code. And what is the log file? If the administrator wants to take a look at what happened during this function, this file can be opened up and seen, and where there will be technical details. Anyway, for the purpose of our example, you can see that a full backup, online backup, is happening to a tape. In the previous example, we saw that backup was to a device. That device here in this case is a tape device. Now we can see that every day the backup is successful, which is indicated by the return code or reason code 000, 4 zeros. But if you see, on two particular days, there is an error, which is also marked in red. Here in this case, we can see that a backup was taken to a disk instead of a tape. We can understand a little more by asking why this is happening. Is it possible that on a particular day, the backup happens to a disk instead of a tape? It is a policy of backup that the company has defined, or is it an exception? We need to understand that. In this case, there are error codes or return codes which are 5 and 3, which means that the backup was not successful. So what we need to look at as auditors is, has management or the IT operations team looked at this, and what action have they taken? Is there adequate documentation for the reasons of failure? It is possible that the tape got damaged or disk got corrupted, or it is possible that there was a power failure. So there could be many reasons why this has happened, and the reasons need to be investigated by the management, and there should be sufficient documentation that has to be provided, which we can go through and understand whether the process is working in a controlled manner. When we say process, it is the process of backup being taken. However, for our comfort, what we can do is, we can see subsequent to the dates. So we have seen that on 2 dates, the failure happened. Subsequent to these 2 dates, when was the next successful backup taken? So if that is the case, then it gives us assurance that there is no loss of data that can happen, because the subsequent backup would also include the backup of the days on which the error happened. So this is the way we need to understand the controls or the process and identify what can go wrong within the backup and see which controls mitigate those risks.